Hello everyone, and happy Inauguration Day, and thanks so much for being with us. We're live on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., where in just a few hours Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. We've got all the details on this historic day, but first, a look at the headlines. Incoming Vice President J.D. Vance meets his Chinese counterpart Han Jing before the inauguration of incoming President Donald Trump. Han is the first senior Chinese leader attending a U.S. president swearing-in ceremony. Israel releases 90 Palestinian prisoners in exchange for the 3 hostages held by Hamas in Gaza. This after the Israeli cabinet approved a ceasefire agreement to halt more than 15 months of war. Russian forces take control of 2 more villages in East Ukraine, including one just a few kilometers from a key supply hub for Ukrainian forces. China executes a man who killed 35 people by ramming his car into crowds at a sports center last November. The mass attack was the country's deadliest against the public in a decade. And clashes erupt between illegal miners and army officials in southern Ghana, killing 8. About 60 miners armed with rifles and machetes forced their way into a mine, prompting the soldiers to fire on them. We start right here in Washington, D.C., where Donald Trump will soon take the oath of office as the 47th President of the United States. But before his swearing in, he's offered a preview of the next 4 years of his presidency. In fact, last night, the soon-to-be Commander-in-Chief held a victory rally at Capital One Arena, where he vowed to impose severe limits on immigration to fulfill the central promise of his presidential campaign.
By the time the sun sets tomorrow evening, the invasion of our borders will have come to a halt, and all the illegal border trespassers will in some form or another be on their way back home. The border security measures I will outline in my inaugural address tomorrow will be the most aggressive, sweeping effort to restore our borders.
Now, while Donald Trump has promised to deport millions of illegal migrants, such actions would face enormous logistical hurdles and cost billions of dollars. Meanwhile, he's pledged to sign several executive orders related to a variety of issues, including mass deportations of illegal migrants, environmental protections, and diversity programs.
We're going to do a lot of things. You're going to see something tomorrow. You're going to see executive orders that are going to make you extremely happy. Lots of them. Lots of them. We have to set our country on the proper course, but we will quickly reestablish control of our sovereign territory and borders. We will expel every single illegal alien, gang member, and migrant criminal operating on American soil, and remove the savage gang Tren de Aragua from the United States. But we're going to stop the destructive and divisive diversity, equity, and inclusion mandates across the government and private sector and return our country to the merit system.
Now, reports say he could sign as many as 200 executive actions beginning today, and this will include legally binding orders and some other presidential directives like proclamations.
Every radical and foolish executive order of the Biden administration will be repealed within hours of when I take the oath of office. Oh, you're going to have a lot of fun watching television tomorrow.
Now, apart from executive orders, Donald Trump told his supporters he would direct the U.S. military to create an Iron Dome missile defense shield and once again claimed credit for the ceasefire deal in Gaza. He also guaranteed to keep transgender women from competing in female sports and handing back control of education to U.S. states. And on the first day in office, Trump is also expected to pardon the 2021 Capitol Hill rioters whom he calls hostages. And the irony is Donald Trump will take the oath of office from inside the rotunda of the U.S. Capitol, the same spot his supporters vandalized after his 2020 election defeat. For more on Donald Trump's inauguration and his promise for the next 4 years, we have with us Mark Mirowitz. He's a political analyst and professor at State University in New York. Thanks for being with us today, Professor.
Pleasure.
So let's start with what we're expecting to see. You know, Donald Trump is taking office at a time of tremendous volatility in the Middle East. And given that he's certainly no stranger this time around, what do you think we should expect from him as he now navigates difficult issues such as this hostage release deal, Iran, and of course the fragility that we're seeing out of Syria right now?
Well, Trump had said that if the hostages are not all released by the time he's inaugurated, all hell would break loose. And we've seen that, the hostage release is not all the hostages. It's 3 hostages. There are numerous phases involved. It's very complicated. However, it is really clear that Trump's involvement was pivotal to make this happen. So that shows the impact of Trump's influence even when he was not president. In terms of Iran and Syria, definitely that is a high issue on the agenda. In terms of Iran, the question is how to stop Iran from its malevolent and violent behavior and encouragement of terrorism in the Middle East and throughout the world. That is a #1 priority for the United States and for Israel. As far as Syria is concerned, well, I would say this. That is going to be a very, very tough issue, and it will involve coordination among the United States, Turkey, Syria, various other parties to figure that out. But it is a potential hotbed of difficulty for the United States going forward. But I think Trump will use his skills and contacts with foreign policy, especially with Turkey's President Erdogan, to try to figure out a way to make this move forward without a violent result.
Now, I want to follow up on Iran specifically because we know during Trump's first 4 years in office, he came down really hard on Iran. We know about a top-level general that was killed by U.S. airstrikes. And, of course, we know about Donald Trump pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal. Now that he is coming back and now that we see that the United States and Israel has to some extent contained some of Iran's proxies, do we expect Donald Trump, or do you expect Donald Trump to be more aggressive when dealing with Iran?
Well, I think that the only solution to the crisis in the Middle East is to eliminate Iran as an active party, with ability to do anything in the Middle East, all the violent things that it's doing. And certainly its defenses have largely been destroyed. The question is its nuclear capacity. And the fact of the matter is that right now, recently, the European 3, UK and France and Germany, have gone again to meet with Iran to talk about a nuclear deal. And this foolishness has to end, because there is no efficacy to a nuclear deal with Iran. Iran will not make a fair deal. It will not follow its obligations under a deal. It will continue to support terrorism and violence. And frankly, I think the Trump administration is going to put a stop to that. And if they do, we can see possibly a peaceful Middle East coming forward. But we will not have a peaceful Middle East with Iran as a viable party again, and the possibility that it would go nuclear. This is the most frightening thing, I think, on the verge of in the world at the present time.
Well, let's look at what we're going to see today. Donald Trump will be inaugurated. This is a historic day. It becomes now only the second former president to be reelected. And what he's done differently in terms of breaking the mold from what we have seen from past incoming presidents is he's actually courted world leaders with invites to attend his inauguration. But do you think Donald Trump's friendly outreach will extend to many of these world leaders beyond what we're going to see today?
Well, you're right about that. I mean, he invited Xi Jinping to come. He wasn't able to get that. Would have been the unbelievable political event of the century. The vice president of China's coming, and various other world leaders, as you said. But that is also very, very characteristic of what happens at an inauguration. But Trump has a very strong ability. I see you have the Argentinian President Milei and other friendly leaders around the world. His courting of those leaders has been very important, even in his first term. Of course, he tried to court the leader of Kim Jong-un of North Korea, and that had limited. He's trying to do that again, and there is certainly an element of that could be successful, and presidents do that. And I think he's particularly good at it, and I think he's going to continue to do it. Whether he can do this with Russia and with Putin and with the war in Ukraine is an open question. He said that the war in Ukraine would be over on day one. That's today. It's not over, but I do think that the relationship that Putin has with Trump will be very important in hopefully figuring out an end to this horrible war in Ukraine. And we really need to end it. And it's also a big political issue here domestically. So that's also one high on the plate, a very, very plate full of things that present to President Trump on his first day.
And now, staying with Donald Trump and how he engages with world leaders as well as other countries and particularly our allies, I cannot let you leave without talking about what's happening directly with where you are. Donald Trump is expected to sign over 100 executive orders today, and one of those orders is expected to be across-the-board tariffs that he's going to put on one of the United States' biggest trading partners, Canada. Talk a little bit about what you think the impact might be if, in fact, Donald Trump decides to go through with these tariffs on Canada. Of course, we know one of the biggest salient points of Donald Trump's campaign and his candidacy was his ability to actually combat rising inflation. And if, in fact, he goes through with these tariffs, that will only increase inflation, not decrease it, to say nothing of what it'll mean with one of the United States' biggest allies and trading partners, and, of course, its northern neighbor.
I think more realistically are the pardons that you're flashing on the screen, transgender sports and pardoning the January 6th rioters and immigration. Those are going to happen. I am very doubtful. I don't believe that he's going to sign a tariff against Canada. He's already threatened tariffs against Canada, and as a result of that, the Trudeau government fell, and they're now going to have new elections. He's already achieved tremendous impact on our relationship with Canada, which is our greatest friend. So, and again, you're right, 100% right. The tariffs can have a very damaging effect on the economy. In fact, tariffs caused in large part the depression in the United States. So I don't think that's going to be in the menu, but the immigration issue, the deportation orders, the birthright citizenship, the pardons, and the energy reversing Biden's foolish and ridiculous ban on oil and gas and promotion of electric vehicles. This ridiculous lunacy is going to end, and we're going to start doing something to fix the economy. So I think that is where the emphasis is going to be, on those economic fixes and immigration. And those are very high mountains to follow, I don't think. Now, on China, which we didn't mention, there Trump has said he's going to put a 60% tariff on Chinese goods. That also, to me, seems more like a threat than it is a reality. And sometimes the threat has more of an impact than the implementation of it. And that's kind of Trump's maybe modus operandi, which is to threaten, I'm getting out of NATO. I don't like it anymore. I mean, realistically, I don't see that's going to happen, because America's need for NATO, particularly with the Ukraine conflict, there's no question about it. You just can't dismantle the entire house. But what he does is he I say threatening, I don't mean threatening, he's using cajoling and influencing and using the power of the presidency to influence both domestically and our foreign leaders around the world, including our allies, to do things like increasing the percentage of GDP that they use for defense. Is really important. He wants to be 5%, not 2%, but it has a helpful effect. As far as our adversaries are concerned, I think they should be worried about the statements that he makes, because as we've seen on Middle East, etc., and you mentioned on Iran and previous actions that were taken, Trump means what he says, and he says what he means, and he's going to implement it on that one. Our adversaries should be worried, and they are, but not our friends. I don't see it. I don't see it. I see that we're going to work together to improve the immigration issue, the economy issues, the relationship with Mexico, with Canada, but I don't see that as going to be a very adversarial relationship. I just don't see it.
Okay. We've got to leave it there. Thanks so much, Professor, for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
The cryptocurrency world erupted into chaos as Donald Trump and Melania Trump launched rival meme coins over the weekend. Donald Trump's Trump coin debuted with massive fanfare, briefly hitting a $14 billion market cap. However, its meteoric rise was abruptly halted when his wife Melania unveiled her token, Melania. The Melania coin caused Donald Trump's coin value to plummet by 40% in just 10 minutes. With Donald Trump and his wife launching cryptocurrency coins of their own, will they influence other world leaders into launching their own meme coins? Here's more in our next report.
The cryptocurrency market witnessed unprecedented drama this weekend as Donald Trump and Melania Trump introduced rival meme coins. What started as a triumphant debut for the Trump coin quickly turned into chaos when Melania entered the arena with her coin, Melania. The clash sent shockwaves through the digital currency world, leaving investors on the edge. Now, it all began on Friday. Promoted with his signature bravado on Truth Social, Trump declared, "It's time to celebrate everything. We stand for winning. Join my very special Trump community. Get your Trump now." The coin was an instant sensation. In less than 48 hours, when the president-elect proudly unveiled the Trump token, branding it as the official Trump meme coin, it skyrocketed to a market valuation of $14 billion, placing it among the top 20 cryptocurrencies. But as Trump basked in the glory of the Trump coin's success, Melania Trump made her move. Late Sunday, just before Trump's victory rally, Melania announced her own token, the Melania coin, with a simple yet powerful message on X. The official Melania meme is live. You can buy Melania now. And her announcement took the crypto world by storm. Within hours, Melania surged in value, currently at $11.5 per coin. The market cap is now over $11 billion. Built on the Solana blockchain and branded as fungible crypto assets, the coin quickly gained a cult following. The launch of the Melania coin triggered a mass sell-off of the Trump coin. Within 10 minutes of her announcement, the Trump coin's value plummeted by 40%, wiping out $7.5 billion in market cap. Analysts watched in disbelief as the Trump token, which had symbolized dominance, crumbled under the weight of Melania Trump's unexpected debut. "This is beyond insane," tweeted the Kobesi letter analysts. "The market has spoken and it's choosing Melania," they tweeted. The competition between the two tokens has also sparked heated debates among crypto enthusiasts. While the Trump coin had initially appealed to die-hard Trump supporters, the Melania token quickly attracted a broader, more diverse audience. Donald Trump, who once dismissed cryptocurrency as a scam, has embraced it fully, becoming the first presidential candidate in the United States to accept digital assets for donations. His incoming administration, led by crypto czar David Sachs, also promises to foster innovation in the digital asset space. So, while Trump's coin embodies his bold high-stakes persona, Melania's coin reflects her understated but strategic approach. And as the dust settles, the question remains: can the Trump coin reclaim its dominance, or will the Melania token continue to rise as the meme queen of crypto?
And staying in the United States, authorities recently found a secret cross-border tunnel used to smuggle migrants and illegal goods between the United States and Mexico. Discovered on January 10th, the tunnel is hidden in a storm sewer system and connects the Mexican city of Ciudad Juarez to El Paso in Texas. The underground passage is 100 feet long and its access is about 6 feet high and 4 feet wide. The sophisticated tunnel is equipped with ventilation and lighting and is reinforced to prevent collapses. And now Mexican officials say the tunnel will be sealed soon. Meanwhile, U.S. Border Patrol officials say making and using such tunnels is a common practice among smugglers. Mexican Army officials guarding the tunnel say the construction of such a tunnel would have taken about 2 years.
This is definitely not a mom-and-pop operation at all. It's gone way beyond that. The tunnel's construction must have taken a long time. It could have been 1 or 2 years.
Now, Army officials added clues about the tunnel's existence and location was revealed by human traffickers on social media platforms like TikTok. Mexican authorities have declined to give further details about the tunnel's operations. Notably, the tunnel was discovered as both the United States and Mexico ramped up security efforts in the wake of Donald Trump's inauguration. Now, Trump has pledged to deport millions of undocumented migrants from the country over the next 4 years. And the incoming president has also threatened a 25% tariff on all Mexican goods if the country fails to curb illegal migration and drug smuggling. Now, under diplomatic pressure, Mexico is carrying out its largest crackdown on migrants, sending them to the country's south, far from the U.S. border. And in the latest measure, Mexican immigration authorities are raiding camps and detaining migrants for further deportation. In fact, in one such incident on Saturday, migrants resisting arrest set their blankets and mattresses on fire at a camp in Chihuahua City. Now, this after 250 Mexican officials, including the National Guard, surrounded the encampment at midnight.
Sí.
Pues llegó la guardia, no sé, guardia, migración, policía.
Se nos llegó a las ¿qué?
Prácticamente a la medianoche.
A las 12:30.
Sí.
Nos llegaron. Nos rodearon a todos.
Rodearon el campamento, el lugar a donde estábamos. Pidieron simplemente hablar, que iban a hacer revisión y todo esto, pero óigame, dígame usted.
Que iban a revisar a los niños.
Dígame usted, si es lógico venir con toda la fuerza policial o del ejército, supuestamente hacer una revisión a la medianoche en un campamento cuando pueden hacerlo de día. En tal caso, hace unos días atrás vino la policía y hicieron un censo.
Allá vienen. Allá vienen.
Now the fate of migrants hangs in the balance as Mexico continues to make arrests, fearing Donald Trump's threat of hefty tariffs as he returns to the White House. And finally, once allies at the forefront of Democratic leadership, Speaker Nancy Pelosi and former President Joe Biden now find themselves at odds. It all started when Pelosi's efforts last summer to try to convince Joe Biden to withdraw from the presidential race. Since then, the former commander-in-chief and his wife Jill Biden have distanced themselves, even refusing to check in on Pelosi after her recent hip injury. Pelosi, however, has publicly praised the former president, but the former speaker's daughter hasn't been so kind. Here's more in our final report.
Once celebrated as pillars of democratic unity, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and former President Joe Biden now stand on opposite sides of a widening chasm. Their decades-long friendship, marked by shared triumphs and battles, is unraveling, leaving political observers speculating whether it is broken beyond repair. The fallout became glaringly public after an alarming incident last month when the 84-year-old Pelosi broke her hip in Luxembourg, and the Bidens did not even reach out to check on her. For Pelosi's family, this silence was deafening. Pelosi's daughter, Alexandra Pelosi, compared the former First Lady to Lady Macbeth for controlling her husband's kingdom from behind the scenes, just like in the legendary Shakespeare play.
If I was Lady McBiden, I'd put on my big girl pants, play the long game, and think about my husband's legacy. There aren't that many people left in America who have something nice to say about Joe Biden, and Nancy Pelosi is one of them.
This bitterness has roots in last summer's political storm when Pelosi warned Biden that his re-election bid could doom the party. Armed with grim polling data, she reportedly urged him to step aside. And Biden eventually withdrew in late July, but the scars from that battle haven't healed. Jill Biden, in an interview with the Washington Post, openly questioned the friendship. "We were friends for 50 years, she lamented. I was disappointed, she added.
Forever, no matter what he said.
Pelosi, on the other hand, has remained remarkably gracious in public. After Biden's exit, she hailed him as a patriotic American and one of the most consequential presidents in history. But privately, Pelosi and her allies wonder if Biden's resentment is clouding his judgment.
The House will be in order. The chair will address the chamber. Today, a shameful assault was made on our democracy. It cannot, however, deter us from our responsibility to validate the election of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. For that reason, Congress has returned to the Capitol. We always knew that this responsibility would take us into the night and will stay as long as it takes. Our purpose will be accomplished.
And the White House's frosty treatment of Pelosi even extended to her health crisis. After her fall, Pelosi's team feared delays in securing a U.S. military plane to bring her home. Though the White House ultimately responded, the incident underscored the wall Pelosi described between her and Biden's inner circle. Some claim Pelosi played a pivotal role in Biden's ouster, but her public critiques of Biden's campaign strategy left little doubt about her concerns.
Kamala may have, I think she would have done well in that and been stronger going forward. And because the president endorsed Kamala Harris immediately, that really made it almost impossible to have a primary at that time.
The Bidens, for their part, have not forgiven what they see as betrayal.
My colleagues thought I would hurt their races. I was concerned Nancy Pelosi's words would become the focus.
Despite the animosity, Pelosi remains hopeful. "I pray so, I cry so," she said of mending their friendship, but with each passing day, the chances of reconciliation seem slimmer. For now, the question remains, will time heal their wounds, or has this once formidable alliance been shattered for good?
That's all we have time for today. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you right back here again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Donald Trump's return to the Oval Office is imminent. He will soon take the oath of office and once again lead the nation.
God spared my life for a reason.
President-elect Donald Trump's first priority tackling illegal immigration and securing the nation's borders.
We're going to fix our borders.
The incoming administration has prioritized the Russia-Ukraine war. Can they succeed in ending one of the world's most challenging conflicts?
I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled.
And as he returns to the White House, will Donald Trump resume a bruising trade war with the world's second largest economy, China?
If China or some other country is behaving badly, we have things called tariffs.
All of this and more right here on Firstpost America.